Welcome to the Black Script Storytellers. My name is Kevin Marable, and today our guest is an acclaimed director, producer, and president of Tri-Destined Studios, one of the leading Black-owned production companies in Hollywood. Known for his dynamic storytelling and industry leadership, he has directed a wide range of impactful projects, including Carl Weber's The Family Business, which just wrapped its sixth season, and the spinoff Family Business New Orleans, which premiered earlier this year. Love that show. Most recently directed Deb is Boss, a new film loosely based on the life of iconic music manager Deb Antney, set to premiere on All Black in partnership with Jamie Foxx and Datari Turner's Foxhole Productions. With a commitment to elevating diverse voices and creating access for Black talent in film and TV, we're honored to have with us today Trey Haley. Trey, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you for having me. And you know what? I got to give a shout out to Deb Antney on that one too, because her company is extremely involved in the project, but that one's one to look out for. But thank you for having me.
Absolutely, man. Shout out to Deb Antney as well. Now, Trey, I like to start off every interview with a very simple question, but some people might find it a little difficult to answer. Are you ready?
Let's go.
The question is, who is Trey Haley?
Wow. You know what? Who is Trey Haley? You know what? This is just a guy that has tapped into is tapped in and continuously tapping into his potential to be the best that he can be, going after his dreams, his purpose, his, grounded by some of the roots and things his parents raised him from, and just a guy that wants to see people win. And that's the theme even of our company, Tri-Destined Studios, is we want to see people win and do our best to whatever we can do, enhance and entertain people, take people away from their stress of the life, their daily life, but yet put a little bit of a seed of spirit and upliftment and happiness and add value to people's lives, man. That's it.
Nice. And it's great to have people like you in the business that want to see people win, because oftentimes not a lot of people want to do that. And there's a lot of gatekeepers, a lot of people who hold information or relationships. And I understand to a certain degree, you want to protect your what you built and your reputation and all of that. But at the same token, it's always good to reach back and lift others up that are coming behind you. So that way it cements you in your legacy, but it also helps usher in the next wave of talent and people who want and need to be in this business.
Absolutely. We all about that. Even speak at colleges and wherever I can go, panels. I don't care where it is, what it is. Somebody that needs some knowledge, some information, if I have something I can give, just add a little something to help someone get that edge to get to where they need to be. I love it. We can help. We do a lot of stuff behind the scenes, even on our sets, and paying it forward. If we can't do a project, hand it over to someone else so they can do the project. It's just like I said, paying it forward and being around good people. Like you said, obviously there's a lot of things you have to protect and it's a lot on the line, but you got to do your best to make sure you reach out a hand and help some, people come up with you, because obviously there's no one who did this thing by themselves. So
right.
Somebody had to help me come up. You got to keep it going.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Definitely good to pay it forward. Now, Trey, you've done a lot in your lengthy career, but let's go back to the very beginning. What got your start in this business? Like, what made you decide to get into TV and film?
Yeah. You know what? I was starting in the music. I think a lot of people who knew me from like high school or college, they might have thought I was going to start in the music business, because I played viola, the trombone. I was a musical guy, and I always thought, hey, an ideal someone you would look up to in the industry was like Babyface and Quincy Jones. You smashed those two together, and from the behind the scenes aspect of it, like not trying to sing or anything, but just technical talent, finding talent, putting, and that was on my spirit. And then a good friend of mine, his name is Kenny Braxton. He was acting in high school, and I remember just reading scripts with him. Spike Lee Spike Lee, these books that have come out, the scripts with Spike Lee and all that. And, man, I started getting a real interest in this stuff, but from a more so from behind the scenes, how it was made. And so when I got in college, I was at North Texas, and I had an internship, working at this internship, and it was a a TV programmer. When you watch your local cable channels and you have those local shows that play, we used to go film the basketball teams and stuff. And so I was working there while I was in school, and I would be up. Sometimes I closed the place down because I got to put all the footage up, play all the shows and the commercials. But I had the editing machine all in front of me all night, and I just start grabbing stuff, shooting my own things, grabbing like the best of the NFL footage and stuff, and making my own little reel.
Yeah.
And editing really was the beginning stages for me of watching how you can put nothing from something. And I became like an editing king on that stuff. And when you find yourself up till 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, doing something, not tired, doing what you love to do,
Right.
that's when you know this is what you want to do. And that's kind of where it kicked in right there.
Wow. Wow. So, okay. So you were hands in, fully hands on early on.
Yeah.
You had a genuine interest in TV and film, but more so behind the scenes. You like discovering talent.
Mm.
You like
Love the
connect.
process of creating something, nothing from nothing, the whole storytelling process of from the camera work all the way down to the editing process,
Yeah.
even from finding a good script, that whole process was, yeah.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. And then so all of that led up to your very first success. What was your very first piece of success, you would say?
Yeah. Well, you know what? Moved out to LA, and the truth is, the first success was when I met my business partner. I met my business partner, Indy Brown Jones. We were at a film festival. A group of my same friends from that same day are still good friends today. But we decided to create a company like this, Tri-Destined Studios. We made our first movie called We Are Family.
Mhm.
And the irony of it, listening to that right now, is they were doing family business. But anyway, we're going to come back to that. I got to bring that up. So We Are Family was the first movie. The movie never got sold, but we got all of our friends, all our good friend actors, and we made this movie with nothing, no money. The win in the success in that was that we did it. You know what I mean? That what we said we were going to do, we did it, and we finished it. And look, people knew about it. We had screenings, and we did a lot of stuff with it. And we did have offers for it. But, as most filmmakers, we think our movies are more expensive than cost. Hey, you can't offer me 5 cents. My movie is worth 25 cents, so it really wasn't about that. It was about the win. The win was that she did it. And when you take it out and you see around and you say, people were like, wow, people are really receiving this. And so then we did it again. We did a movie called Sweet Oranges. Now we flipped the script on this one. It was a comedy about these two guys selling oranges. They see these Latino guys on the side of the street. They're broke. They see these guys on Latino making all this money selling oranges, and the brothers think that they can go do it. So these brothers, so we got a lot of comedians and stuff that did like cameos, notable cameos in there. And once we made it, we took it around and we did a very much like Master P style and took it all around the comedy circuits in LA. And we sold them at from the back of our car kind of concept, and because you had all these comedians in it anyway, so they know. But what happened from that, showing you just diligence, Blockbuster found out about this and they heard about this movie. What is this movie that's selling? So they called us and gave us an offer to distribute our own movie through Blockbuster. And they told us, now, these are the things you got to do to make it happen. You got to hit these dates. You got to do this, the boxing, the stuff that distributors would normally do. We had to do that part now. And that was the first time we financially really gained something off of something we did by ourselves, like that FUBU concept, a little Master P concept. And so that gave us a second hit of success of we can do this. And not only that, we know how to do it. Like, we know how to go in a room now. We know what to ask. We know what it takes to make this. We know all the elements of what it takes to go from shooting it to boxing it to placing it, like the process. So we had a little, I would say, a little game walking into rooms after that to know the process and know when somebody's saying, "Oh, it's going to cost us much to do this and this." Well, you can't really say that to us. We just sold. We were out on the streets first selling this stuff, and then Blockbuster themselves came to us, so we had a little edge on that too. So we and the Blockbuster bought a large amount from us to put it all around the country. So that was like our second upcoming thing, and then obviously things kept happening. You know, consistency, good work, and then we meet Carl Weber along the way. We meet all these different people. Carl wants us to do. We did a commercial for him. Then um, we did a movie called The Man in 3B, and that was our
Well,
first thing.
well, well, I'm gonna stop you there because I am gonna get to Carl Weber.
Okay,
But
gotcha.
I do want to backtrack just a little bit and just talk about your
Yep.
early stages of getting into the business, and then you guys were really selling these, promoting and selling these hand to hand, almost as if this was like your album. You burn it onto a CD and you'd sell it in the streets, do it guerrilla style, straight out the
Mm-hmm.
trunk. Whoever was willing to watch it, whoever was willing to listen to you guys' pitch, whatever the case may be,
Mm-hmm.
that was your hustle.
That was.
And it got to the point to where Blockbuster found out about you guys. And if I'm not mistaken, I do recall during somewhere around this time frame, this might be like early 2000s, maybe in the 90s, I'm not sure, but getting a deal from Blockbuster was something that was rare, but I wouldn't say it wasn't completely unheard of. I think the distribution was happening at that time, but it was more so on a larger scale. And then obviously we weren't really getting
Right.
pieces of that. But I think other film companies and studios that were starting up were probably getting that. So like, what was the level of difficulty for you guys to get to that stage that Blockbuster was really paying attention?
Yeah. Like you said, man. You know what? In doing it, the irony is we weren't even looking for Blockbuster at that
Right,
moment. We were
right.
just trying to just sell the movie and get it out.
Yeah, but
And
you were hustling hard though.
we knew that you put out enough good things, the good things come back. You just keep it going.
Mhm.
And I think we knew eventually we were going to try to probably do a deal with somebody eventually. But in that moment, we were like adding up the numbers and we're like, if we sold this many albums, if we sold this many DVDs, and we go to all these comedy stores and all this, and we hit the block, we can make our money back plus some, and we ain't got to give our money to anybody else. So there really was, but that is a different kind of thinking, a different kind of like hustle mindset. That most filmmakers go to distributors, go to festivals, try to get it
Mhm.
sold, or and there's no one right or wrong way to do this. But at that moment, we were seeing that there was like, if people knew this is, like you said, a black owned company. People out here doing their thing. We're doing this legit, like making this stuff really
Right.
work. You
Okay.
get that support. It's the support that you get from each other. But for the Blockbuster situation, when it came up, it really was though. That was a financial ask for ourselves too, and to be able to pull that off because
Yeah.
obviously you need some funds. That's why most people can't do it. And most people talk about it, but then when you get the opportunity, and then you look at how much it costs to do this stuff, then you understand why the distributors are the distributors, and doing the way they do, and why they go to a distributor instead of an individual company because they're doing numbers. They're doing 20 DVDs, 20 movies.
Mhm.
So the numbers make sense. They're in the business of, they're not necessarily in the business just of making movies. They're in the business of delivering movies to
Yeah.
putting it in stores, and they got the machine working to
Yeah.
box these things,
Yeah. You
deliver,
gotta mess it up.
do all the stuff it takes to make it get there.
Right.
That is where the key happens. Luckily, we had Mr. Mr. Brown, that's Indy's father, is a big he's an instrumental person in investing. He's a very wise man. He's a huge entrepreneur in Ohio, and he came in and helped us when he saw this. He was like, I'm proud of you guys. Let me help you guys out and help. Let's make this work. And he helped us show us how to structure the business of doing something like that to make it make sense.
Right.
So that was instrumental. Once again, having those type of mentors in your life, people who understand the business of distributing. It don't matter if it's corn. It don't matter if it's milk. It don't matter if it's soy milk. You know what I'm saying? There's a no matter what it is. If it's apples, it's not just about making the apples. It's about getting them out there to the public, right? That's the key. How do you go from that to putting it on the trucks to getting it into the stores to the cleanup, all of the things it takes. So luckily we had that involved, and it just worked out, man. You know, and it just gave us another level of confidence that we could do that, man. After that we just start networking with distributors.
Wow.
Distributors even knew about this stuff, so then they gave us a lot of opportunities, and they were teaming up with us, putting us with other companies to work and help them make their movies if they would, and it just really snowballed from that.
Yeah, I can imagine because once you're able to do it, there's a lot more people that come behind you that are trying to understand how you guys did it. How did you
Right.
make it to that level? How did you guys get so successful in doing this and partnering with Blockbuster to make this
Mhm.
happen? And I can imagine that everybody also wanted to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Um,
And look, as people start learning about it and they start seeing the process of it, even for us, we realized it was a success doing that. But now walking into a distributor, doing a deal with the distributor, now we have the power of knowledge to
right,
know the truth
right,
about the deal, what that means, what that stuff on that paperwork that a lot of people don't know what that means. When we're reading it, we can be like, no, we don't need to
yep,
do that. We'll do that for ourselves. We can help you with that. We can do this. We don't need that part. Actually, you don't really need that, because when they did that, when we did this movie, which y'all know we didn't have to have that to be in Blockbuster. Sometimes people put a lot of things in, and, they're doing a lot of business to make money, but you got to
yes,
know how to slice that thing up and clear it out so that it makes it make a fair deal. So
right,
yeah.
right. Now, okay, now let's fast forward back to more so present day.
Mhm.
Uh, you have just wrapped the sixth season of Family Business.
Yes.
Um, Talk a little bit about how the family business got off the ground.
Mhm.
Your relationship with Carl Weber. How did that all start?
Yeah, believe it or not, watch this. You talk about full circle. So we did a movie called Note to Self,
Hmm.
um, and then we did a few films with a gentleman named Christian Keys. And Christian actually is a um, frat brother of Carl, and I guess he was doing some stuff with Carl with his books. But he told Carl one time about us, and Carl met with us, and we did our first movie, like I was saying earlier, it was called The Man in 3D. So we did a test run, very successful movie. All his books, Carl Weber's a New York Times best-selling author. I mean, I think he's like 100 times New York Times best-selling author at this point. I mean, legitimately, he's like he might be 29, 30 times. I don't know. But all his books that we made are all New York Times bestsellers. So Man in 3D was the first one we did. It was a huge hit. Like I said, we got we got a nice theatrical release out of that.
Hmm.
And from there, we did Preacher's Son, choir director. We did several series of movies with him. The man that the family business is his number one book selling. It's like it's a I would
Top
call
tier.
it a book series.
Right.
Number one. All the characters have their own storylines. This is an ongoing book series, still runs,
Hmm.
and it is got millions of fans right
Yeah.
all around the country. So he said, "Let's try it." I think we built to the point where that's what everybody wants. Let's do it. So we actually independently filmed that movie. We did a part one and a part two, 2 hours, knowing that if we but the key was cast it with a group of people that would have like TVQ, high TVQ, that
Hmm.
people are used to seeing them on television and stuff like
Right.
that.
Hmm.
I mean, obviously we have fresh faces, but Ernie Hudson came in from the very beginning, and he was a big fan of the book series. And before Tri-Destined came involved, him and Carl already had a relationship as
Wow.
well. So he was always down for this and was always wanting to be a part of this. And so we made it out of the pockets. Carl put a lot of money into it. We added some money into it as well. We made this. And as we were shooting, we all were like, this is a TV show. We know this is, as you keep shooting, this is it. This is a television show.
Hmm.
We knew that we had that ability. We just said, no matter what, we know we can sell this because we've already been selling movies and knowing how to do that process. So then we cut it up, go out, pitching it around. Several networks were interested, but one of the things about BET is BET said, which no other network said, is this the cast? And they said, we will keep this cast. Several of the networks, they wanted to change it. Even though this was an ongoing book series, they wanted to change some, look, our show obviously is multicultural. So there's no shame to other or hits to other cultures. But this is a Black family that's doing this. This is about a Black family that's a boss family. And they're the ones, it's like flipping the Godfather concept. And, you don't go and say, hey, can you go to the Godfather and you change all these Italians to Black people? You know what I'm saying? Like in that movie. That is how he wrote that script. So we were like, no, you got to keep this because it's an ongoing book and the fans will hate you for this stuff. They will, it won't last, right? So BET said we will keep it and let's do it and let's do a collaboration together. So they were very supportive in the whole concept and in the vision and the long-term vision of it. So that's why we went BET, and it's been a heck of an amazing relationship. They are just supportive of what we do. We talk about casting or whatever. They're in it with us. So it's been an amazing relationship, and now we're there. Now we're at a spinoff called Family Business New Orleans. But once again, it's just they understand the book series, so they understand from what the thing has the potential to do. So it's been amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And it can grow from there as well. This can definitely become a franchise, a lot larger than Family Business New Orleans. You could do in
Man,
several different.
we got the cities lined up. We was
Yes.
Jamaica, Miami. You can go Chicago.
Yes. There's so many
Somewhere
stories you can tell.
why can't you do family business Atlanta? Why don't you do family business like DC, right? It definitely we see it as the franchise potential that it is.
Right. And shout out to BAT for keeping the shows and the book's integrity by keeping the cast together, keeping the storyline together.
Yeah,
Um, that's important. Sometimes people will sell a show or approach a network and they'll allow for the network to make those changes for the money, for the check. But
yeah,
it's important to keep that integrity intact and see your story come to life the way it's supposed to and the way the readers have read it all along. You don't want to go and change up a good thing.
absolutely.
Yeah. So okay, so you, like I said, you had the family business, 6 seasons. I know there's going to be plenty more seasons to come, but we also now have the family business New Orleans,
Yes.
which was also a really dope show, really dope cast. Are you able to reveal like what are the plans moving forward for the family business New Orleans?
Yeah. So it's actually being the next season is being written right now.
Okay.
It's juicy. That's all I can say, man. It's juicy. This thing is going to go higher, man. It's got places to go. Some new characters are coming in.
Yeah, I
Some
was going to
new
say that.
faces
Yes.
are coming in. We got some, recognizable actors who are very. I mean, let me tell you something right now. I have not seen that many calls as I've had. I need to get on these family business New Orleans. What's the next one? I just need to be a part of these things. And like it's the managers and agents call us all day about this stuff, now. But it's been a blessing to be able to now have the access to know this person might be not bad for this, whatever. But Carl has been writing, he's been real secretive. Look, I peek in there and I get a little bit of it. But I mean, obviously, as you know, the ending was a big like a gunshot happens and it goes black, and you don't know
Right.
what happens right there, right? So
Yeah, you got to leave them on the cliffhanger.
but I will say the best I can tell you, man, is it's all the questions will be answered very quickly when we come back in on episode 1. So it's gonna be a pretty big the episode 1 is gonna be pretty interesting for a lot of people, for those who are really engaged and understand that storyline. They're gonna be excited. It's gonna be really exciting.
Can you talk a little bit about your directorial vision for Deb Antony's Deb is Boss,
Yeah,
um, and what it was like bringing Deb Antony's story to the screen?
yeah, man. That one was really fun to watch. Obviously, that's a that starts in the '70s, late '70s, goes into the '80s.
Hmm.
But Little Mama plays Deb Antony, and she comes with it. Little Mama got the eyes,
Yeah.
the energy, that New York swag. That Deb handpicked her, and it really, man, was about two things for me. When Deb Antony has the storyline, like when you hear about 50, Jay-Z, all these cats that come up from the streets of New York, the hardcore, you know, when we hear about all these rappers rapping what they're talking about, Deb Antony's lived this stuff for real. And when she came in the music business, that's her edge that she had. That's what she could bring. She really wasn't a part of the music game like a musician, but she
Right.
was able to manage because she had that business swag. She was able to always she had that managerial boss element to her
Mhm.
early on. And she's been around and seen a lot from a very, very young age. So we started this thing like we have a young lady playing her at 10, and then it switches over to Little Mama, which we love about her too, because Little Mama still good. She still look young. But so Little Mama can carry over the age over a certain
Right.
time period. And so it really was about keeping the integrity of Deb's story, like her truth, but also making it entertaining.
Right.
Because obviously, when you get to street movies about the streets, sometimes people don't take to that too well anymore. They want to see something else. It's like, I don't want to be there anymore. I don't want to see that. We
Yeah.
made this, when you think of movies, I mean, I'm not saying that this is what it is, but when you think of the spirit of a Quentin Tarantino Pulp Fictions, Guy
Mhm.
Ritchie type stories where you see street stuff, but it's entertaining and it's visually fun,
Right.
cool angles, the music is hip and it's fly, and you got, cool vibes with everything looks
Yeah.
fly. And we don't go edgy and dark with this thing. It's fun to watch and it's cool
Right.
to watch. And it's what you find about her story, which is really important, is where she started. People come and they're raised in a lot of different situations. And I think a lot of times people don't the sensitivity level of where people come from. When you're 10, 9 years old and you're coming from the hood, you're around drugs and you around the game, that's all you know. You don't even look at it like a bad thing. This is what everybody's doing. And then you raise it and then it becomes like drinking water for them, a lot of times for some people. No different than if you're living in Beverly Hills all your life and you don't know nothing about the street game. But you've been used to a maid, you've been used to a driver, you've been used to that's all you know. So
Mhm.
there's got to be sensitivities to these things when people are raised to understand that that's their life. Folk, I mean, that's how they're raised. So you
Mhm.
see her go through this journey, and after a while, as she gets deeper and deeper in it, there is a bright light in this. There is
Right.
a revelation that comes to her, and the music game ended up being a revelation for her. Like, really, it goes there. I mean, we have to see the story where it goes, but her getting out that street game and the revelation to get out is the
Mhm.
key to the movie. And seeing her go through the journeys, go through all this, to see a woman going through all of this too. I mean, like this is some gangster stuff that this girl is doing, but it's entertainment still that we want. So that was also visually, that was the key is how do you make this story without it being like just hardcore street stuff, but make it fun, make it humanize this situation. You don't just see her hard. When you see Deb Antony on stuff, you see her really just going at people's head and breaking it down with people like
Yeah.
it's all heart and love. Deb Antony is the sweetest woman in the world, but she could be misunderstood. But this movie will help you understand her a little bit more and see the journey that she had to go through to survive, you know, and then the revelation of how to I got to get out of this. So
Mhm.
it's a fun movie, man. It's good.
Yeah, I'm familiar with Deb because I initially came from the music world. I used to rap back in the day,
Yeah,
and I'm familiar with Deb Antony on the music side of things.
yeah,
I'm interested in seeing, the story unfold of her upbringing and how she got into music for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, she does kind of have a tough exterior, but everything that she says to people is real. It's genuine advice. She looks out for people from what I know.
Yep.
Obviously, I don't know her, but
Movie
uh,
will show you why the story, really the heart of the story is to take you all the way up to show you by the time she's from New York and she goes to Atlanta. So you
got
get
it.
a and obviously the goal is to continue this. So now that we would love for this to just be a continuation of stories from Deb and Eastbrook because she's got such a huge world that she's played in.
Oh,
But
I
you
can
can't
imagine
tell that world without showing how
her
she
story.
even
Yes.
got there, like this, how she was rooted in this strength that she has. So, and I mean, there's times I would just be like, "Is this real?" Like, it's like this really happened. Like sometimes like you just don't. I don't know. You hear stories like this, and that just shows you how men look at things and don't think a woman could. I mean,
Right.
survive through this type of stuff. Like
Yeah,
she
man.
is the truth, and it's like I mean, most men can't make it through this. Okay, most men can't do Deb Anthony's life. I'm gonna tell you that right. Yeah.
Yeah, I could believe that. I could
Yeah.
believe that for sure. Now, you've also partnered with Jamie Foxx and Datari Turner's Foxhole Productions,
Mhm.
uh, in collaboration with Deb Annie to make Deb his boss. Can
Yes.
you talk a little bit about how that
Yeah,
partnership came?
we have a really strong relationship with Datari. We've known Datari for a very long time, man. We all came up, and we all coming through. It's like full circle moment, and let's just say Datari reached out to Indy, my business partner. And she's like our head producer on our everything we do. She's CEO of Tri-Destined President, but our partnership with Datari said, "Hey, Deb really wants a female. See, she wants a female producer. She wants somebody at the head can
Mhm.
understand. She ain't dealing with these dudes, nothing, a lot of that. But he said, I got the perfect person, and that's kind of like how the conversation started, And then it just this has been a couple of years in the work to make this happen, but it was all started from her vision of making sure that she had a strong female presence behind the scenes that had listened to her voice. She needed to feel like she could look somebody's in her eyes and trust that they were gonna, you know, she needed
With
the strength of a woman to be on that set and be, and feel that love that was going to be given to her the right way. So that's kind of where the beginning of this all started, and it went from there, man.
Yeah, wow. Now, when it comes to projects that come across your table,
Hmm.
or even ideas or pitches, um, what is what is the process for somebody on the outside to approach you or Tridestin to get a project off the ground, or like how do they even get to the point to where it piques your interest or get a meeting?
Well, to be honest with you, look, we read scripts often, man. I mean, obviously, we're doing a lot of stuff on the TV side, but we still like this. Dev is the movie we've done. We really, it's just people coming with a really solid plan, like not a soft idea or like, hey, I was thinking of this, and like for us at this point, we need someone with a completed script. If it's a screenwriter, somebody who really, look, we work with new screenwriters. That's not going to be an issue, but we need people to understand the business of the business too. Like
Right.
you want to come in with a screenwriter, but then own the whole movie. You know what I'm saying? Like we can't have that conversation because. But now there are people who come in if they have a script, they might even have the funding for it. That's. I always say this: know what you really want when you go in the room, and know that it takes more than one piece to do it all. And most
Yeah.
people, like some people, come in and they have all of this stuff that's done. That's great, but they don't have the funding. That's a big piece of it. They don't have the relationship to get it distributed. That's a big piece of it. So you're coming in with one piece that's important,
Right. But you need
but
everything else.
but you need all
Yeah.
the hands on deck to do this. Now, different people come in with different stuff. So, like if you have The Rock attached to your script, it's a different conversation.
You're
If
right.
you have nobody attached to your script, that's a different conversation. So you always got to know. And then, is this the script that you want to come out in? You might have a series of scripts, different scripts. Maybe start with your first script Not no, you might have a favorite one that this is it. I know this is the biggest thing, and it's gonna be huge.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and if you've never sold a script and don't have anything, maybe you have other scripts. Get one in the door so you can start understanding the business. So that by the time you do that script that you're talking about, it's just ideas, just thoughts.
Right.
Now you know how to leverage it better. But if you come in with nothing, if you don't come in with anything other than just the script, I'm not, look, I'm not speaking from a negative place. I'm saying more from like just
No,
like I'm saying anybody that's listening, I want them to know anything is possible in this town. I've seen somebody come into business with no background, one script, and there's stories where they sold it for $1 million. That's possible.
Mm-hmm.
But more often, people sell scripts all the time or get their movies made, and they're building. That's the first script, but they got a plan, man. They got 3 other scripts lined up. They're just trying to get in. Once they get in, I got this one here is just the setup.
That's it,
right?
Yeah.
But you got to know your plan, and everybody got to know the access in which they have to get into the business. So I'm like I said when I said trust your gut, but also don't be that guy or lady who's out there with a script and you got all this potential and talent, and you're cutting yourself off at the neck every day because you're not willing to. It's not a compromise. You're adding value to somebody else. It's all of us working together. And if you walk into a company that's already established, got things going, that can get your stuff made, get in there, get it made. Now everybody in that room knows who you are. That network knows who you are. They know what they're going to say. It's successful. What else do you have? Now you're in the momentum. So, but there's many people who just sit back and they have great ideas, great scripts, great things, and they never get it done. And they've been in the room. They've been in the room. Somebody said yes to them. They just didn't. They just refused to do it. Because I want $1 million. I want 500, and I want to own the rights to my script. I want to own the script. Mm-hmm. But that's not really understanding the business the right way. The way it really works. So if you want to own your script, note to any writers, bring the money in the room. You'll be more of an ownership situation. If you bring a talent that nobody can say no to. Exactly. Right? Not your boy who's been on a couple of movies. That's not the one. I'm talking about somebody that
established,
like a house, established name where people are like,
yes,
that it'll help you. It's not about owning the script, but it puts you in a different leveraging position. In this
different leveraging position, different conversation.
Yeah.
It makes it more real when you have somebody that's attached to this project that has seen it before you've seen it, before it's even come across your table, and they're already attached.
The more you can, and this is what you're seeing with streamers, all these companies, this is hand down anything. The more you can bring something into a room to make other people not have to do as much work to get this thing going, the better it is for you. If I got to come in here now, if the script is just the bomb, and there's nothing wrong with doing work, but I'm telling you, like for us, we don't mind going through this process. We're grounded in independent filmmaking, right? Like ultimately. But when you're walking into meetings and stuff, generally speaking, I remember this gentleman, he was a salesman guru kind of cat, told me one time, take away the no. Do your best when you walk in the room to take away the no. Because most people have so much coming at them. They got bosses. They got people they got to take this thing to. Right. How do you make them say yes? You know what I'm saying? I gotta have this. Yes. Versus like, oh, I gotta do this. I gotta do this. The more you can bring, the more they gotta do, the less power you're gonna have in that situation. Mm-hmm. Or the less, if you can bring in, like I said, the money. You say, well, look, I have $1 million attached to this too, and they're willing to be partners. If it's $2 million, I got $5 million, and they're willing to do too. Okay, well, you're talking a different game right now. You know what I'm saying? I got 20. I got a whole like VC situation going on right there with this thing. And how many more scripts you have? They're all down for all my scripts. Mm-hmm. Let's talk. You would see now you're taking away the no. You're making their lives easier. You're making things move. I have something that you don't have. You have something that I don't have. Or you're adding to something that I have. And now you're making people go from, I done heard 100 people come in the room and tell me this, to you coming in here and I've not heard anybody tell me this. So that's the key.
No, and thank you for breaking all of that down and sharing that information, because it is highly valuable for people, for the audience to hear, for people to know, especially for our community. A lot of times they don't really know what the next step is when it
Mhm.
comes to, you might have written the perfect screenplay, but you don't know what the next step is to get it to pitch, to get it across your table, to
Mhm.
even land a deal, what it takes to make that happen. And then also, to your point, is to, when you are approached, or you do have the opportunity to, sit across the table from you guys or another production company, to understand that it's not all about what you want. There's a give and take there, especially when you don't have that much more to offer. You have to be able to bend a little bit, um, in order to
Yeah,
make this happen.
it's what you say. It's what's the win-win. Don't go in looking to take, look in to add. The more value you can add to people's lives. We heard these people. We heard these amazing speeches on the Instagram when people talking and quoting and stuff all the time. The more you add to someone's life,
Yes.
the more it's coming to you, back to you. If you coming in to take,
Hmm.
that's what's coming to you. You know what I'm saying? So just go in to add. Say, I know I can bring this to value to this company, to this distributor, this production company, whatever. This is, and then also look for companies that do what you're looking to do. I mean, like if you got a horror movie, don't go pitch it to a person who does nothing but Lifetime movies. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not, they're in the game, or vice versa. If you do romantic comedies or romance movies, don't go pitch it to the popular horror company unless you're gonna make that horror movie, that beautiful love story, and turn it horror, you know? And then don't get mad if they say, yeah, I like the idea. What if
Right.
that guy is a killer though? And you're like, no, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
so you gotta also know who you're pitching to. It's like when you go eat, when you go to the grocery store, you know where you're going. When you go to, if you go to a restaurant, you know what restaurant you're going to. You
Hmm.
know what you're looking for when you walk in the door. It's the same
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Um, Now, as a director,
Mhm.
what's your approach to building strong character arcs across multiple seasons? Like,
Mhm.
let's just take Family Business, for example. And then
Yeah.
also leading into Family Business New Orleans, you have a new slew of characters that you'll be building those character arcs.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, the cool thing is that I work really close with Carl Weber, right? So Carl,
mhm,
he writes all these stories. This is coming from his world, his books, things that he's also. These are extensions of the books that are coming out, even new books that are coming out from, like even Family Business New Orleans has a book.
right.
When we did Black Hamptons, for instance, Black Hamptons has a book. All these movies, shows are connected to some. So you have to start with them from Carl's story arcs. But the
Mhm,
biggest thing is to do your best to find working with our actors to give them space to fly and be, but
right.
to stylize them, make them feel and have their own unique energy, So that's where we go into the casting part and finding people that give really interesting vibes, stuff that people attach to, but also, like I said, working with Carl and making sure um, that they all understand there's like the performance, but these scenes always have some level of shock or like suspense. So
Right.
playing into it with it, but yet tweaking it with their character to make it like what I'm saying, like interesting and like the intensity of it, and just to play on the tease.
Hmm.
They're not thinking about the audience when they do their performances, but I am obviously. So I'm having to discuss with them certain ways to do things that I know they have the time. They're going to watch this and be like, that's why he did that. I
Right.
might not say, but a little couple of things and say, hey, on this one, just do this, boom, boom, boom. But really, what I'm thinking about is two scenes down the road. All I need them to do this, and or what's coming down the
Hmm.
pipeline,
Hmm.
giving them nuances with their characters to do things that makes the audience be like, "What's that about? Like, what's this about?"
Exactly. Yeah.
Little subtle things that they're doing. That it's really about that. But television is a writer's medium, so you follow the story of the creator. You flow with that. I'm plugged into his brain. I'm plugged into Indy Brown Jones. She's the showrunner. Her and Carl,
Hmm.
like showrun this thing, And for me, it's the creative vision to make it come alive, help them bring what they're thinking to the table. So we're kind of like a three-headed monster.
Okay. And it's the last question that probably involves family business, but how do you maintain momentum and originality when working on long-running series like Family Business?
Man,
And I know it also stems from the books, and so there's a vast amount of content that you can pull from. But
it's
when it comes to the television side,
it's the hooks, man. And Carl does really good with the storylines and making sure that um, the suspense and the shock are really incorporated really well into the storylines, and us playing onto them, us trying to always push the button on the visuals, us trying to bring something slick and cool to it. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I think what makes family business really, really interesting is the fact that you don't often see. We see a few shows, black families supporting one another even through the drama. Like meaning, like usually they go over there and deal with it or don't deal with it. But these people, some of these people live in the same house. These are like they're wealthy, but they own their own businesses together. You see a lot of cultures do this, where they build within, and I think
right?
it's a great peek into what it could look like outside of all the danger stuff. It's really not even about all of the underground stuff. It really is about the bond of a family, the bond of them sitting at the table together, eating food and having it out, talking it out, dealing with it. How many times do we, that's the thing people used to do. I remember people say, one thing I love about the family is the dinner table scenes.
Right.
You got
Yes.
the whole family. When do we don't even do that anymore.
No.
Nobody, it's you. Nobody, that's what people used to love about a lot of our shows back in the day. It was that family. It was a family like bond that
Yeah.
was real. It was real though. And here you're seeing entrepreneurs, badass entrepreneurs. These are people who are trained to be. They're. I think we got like most of the kids have been trained to be like assassins. You know, they can do anything. When they walk in the room, you know who the Duncans are. And so it's really about building that power of a family, the strength of a family that I think holds well with the audience. That they can look and they say, "Man, this is like my family." And we might not be the Duncans, but we need to be like the Duncans. You know what I'm saying? I want to
Right.
be a Duncan. That we can do that appeal. What it would be like to be a Duncan. Look at this, man. You got the Duncan. Look, they got the
Right.
it's a world we've created. So it's if we stay on that, we got these always have an antagonist that comes in that tries to destroy everything you've built, everything this black family has built. These black families, but yet they know how to work with any culture in the world. It's just I think it's just fun to watch. And Carl, like I said, they do a great job in telling stories and making it unique. Season 6. Oh my God, it just keeps going higher, man. It just keeps going higher.
Yeah. Now, on the executive side, how do you balance being creative and being a business executive simultaneously?
Yep, it's a little tough, but we do it. I try to squeeze in a meeting here and there as we're doing all this, but I always say this. We're still building. We're still growing
Right.
constantly,
Right.
but sometimes we have meetings on set. We bring the meetings on set. But like we just wrap, I'll go in and kick in a couple of meetings throughout the next couple of weeks and stuff. I have little things going on, seeing what some stuff is bubbling. But you know what, man? I find that just momentum builds momentum, and this stuff just comes to you. Once you start just doing stuff, people start coming to you, and it just flows. It's flowing
Right.
like flows like water, man. Just it's coming at you, and you're able to just you ride it like a wave, or you ride it like you ride the wave. It comes to you, and you let the what's in front of you help you for tomorrow. So I don't get too far ahead of myself, because this is what we're doing now is the thing that's going to help everything for tomorrow, right?
Right.
So do the best that you can in front of it, hit that, and for me as the president of the company, letting people see what we can do. You know, family business, Deb, Anthony's story. we've done so many different stories. We did, we work with other companies too. And if you just let people see what you do, everything will come to you, and it makes your job a lot easier. Just do good work.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
Now, is out of all the stories that you guys have been able to tell, and also the stories that have come across your table, has there yet to be a story that you have not told and you still want to tell?
Yeah. One of the big stories I want to tell. Um, like I said, one of our visions for our company is to say we say destined to change the perception of the world. Like that was when we started this Tri-Destined Studios. It was a one bedroom apartment idea, concept thing, thinking this thing out. But we always thought really big. I love movies that are adventurous, like adventure type movies,
Mhm.
movies where you go and you see other worlds. So like a story, somebody out there hear me, a story where you see a young man, a woman, a family go through a journey beyond America, how many people have not been outside of this country to see all of the world? This is like, I remember this guy, one guy from China, we work with this on this company, and he told me, America is very small compared to the
Yeah.
rest of the world.
Yeah.
He's like, we're very, very small. I was like, it was based on the conversation we had. He was just like the global thinking, like for us to see us
Hmm.
in a situation, a journey, somebody has to go through something to travel. I mean, obviously we see these things with like The Rock and stuff like, but I mean, I'm more like we've seen us in places, but I'm saying like a drama, like where somebody is like, it's something deeper than that, like something where a person has to go through a true journey that's going to change their life, the person's life. But it's like Raiders of the Lost Ark without all of the, it's that journey thing where they got to discover something,
Right.
but they have to go through a series of places outside of America to get the answer. And I think something like that would be amazing to see because it would be so big. And nature is the best production design you can ever have.
Absolutely. Especially when it's something that you're not familiar with. If it's a
When you
new
see it, I think
land.
that's what made Wakanda so amazing. It was a place we had never seen before.
Yes.
They gave us something we had never seen for us in that kind of environment. But I'm saying like if we go into like real where waterfalls are or beautiful. I mean, there are so many places where you have to discover something. I would love to do a story like that,
No,
and it
that's really
people's
dope.
lives in a way where it changes the perspective.
Yeah. So
The
for
perspective.
anybody that's listening, if you have a
Mhm.
story that has those aspects in it, Trey Haley is the
I'm
man you
looking
need to contact.
for this story. Take me. Let's go to another world. Let's show the people the world. Let's show our people the world.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Absolutely. Let's see. Can you speak on the importance of creative control and ownership in the Black creative community?
Yeah. Creative control, ownership, crucial. Once again, like I said, bringing in, using your resources to find ways to empower yourself so that you can walk in rooms, to
Hmm.
own things and being more empowered and to having more say so in decisions that creatively. Because if you once you get in a creative medium, in the end of the day, this is the one thing somebody can't take away from us.
Right.
They can either remove a book, they can remove a statue, they can remove this. But once you create the vision and put it up there, you want to be in a position where you have the voice to make sure that that vision is something that wants to stand for a lifetime, for years, for whenever when somebody watches this. So creative control is crucial in having a say so, having a strong voice in your stories because you don't want other people, and it could be your own, it could be your counterpart, whoever. If you have a specific voice, do all you can to make it stick. Do all you can to bring as much to the table as you can because it's there's so many voices, so many perspectives in life, and it's important for us to all be able to see these things. But it's the person with the it's like who are you whose hand are you putting this into? And there might be some people you might not have all the money and everything to do it, but you trust that person's voice is similar to you. So it's also about being around like-minded people who have
Mhm.
similar voice to you. Like you may know a person who doesn't have a similar voice to you, but they can make it happen. Well, they're going to make it the way they see their life,
Exactly.
versus it's also about making sure that, you're, I guess you're evenly yoked.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Trey, what's next for you? What's next for you? What's next for Tri-Destined?
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah, man.
Tri-Destined
The next thing
Studios?
up, I think, is we're definitely getting into family business New Orleans. Definitely looking for some scripts to have some really, really fun stuff with, down the line, for films or movies. Um, I'm pretty much open. Like I said, you'll see me out there somewhere in someone's college or somewhere speaking, trying to talk to the youth of today to do what I can and help them understand what they're walking into or where they want to go and what this business looks like. So that's where I am, man. That's what I'm about. But we're just about building, and you just never know what you may see next.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Well, I also like to give our guests the final word, whether that be a piece of advice that has been given to you, a quote that you like to live by, or words of encouragement. You can say one of the three, or you can say all three. It's up to you.
Yeah. You know what? I would just say this. You know what? One of the things people always say is, in order to be in this business, you got to know somebody. And that is true. But when I moved to Los Angeles, I knew nobody. I just moved because I remember hearing a word, faith without works is dead. And when I was in Texas, that was something that to this day I live by. I heard Dr. Holly, she said something about that yesterday or the other day. So I'm just saying that it just resonates with me to this day. Faith without works is dead. And that is the key. Do it. Don't talk about it. Do it. Many people talk about what they want to do. Many people have ideas. Many people run ideas, but it's the people who actually put in the work and actually do it.
Mhm.
Some people you may say, well, they don't have all that talent. They weren't this. Talent wasn't the only thing that's going to get you there. It's the
Right.
action that's going to get you there. It's making the move, and that's really a key advice that I have to give to people, because it's like planting a garden. You plant the seed. You have a seed in your hand all day. The seed's just going to stay there, but you have to
Yeah.
put it in and water it. That's the action. The seed is just talk. It's there. All that life is there, but you got to plant it so everything can come out of it. And do the work. Do the work. Have a strong team around you. So you're not going to be able to do this thing all by yourself. You got to find people that are like-minded, um, and find people that really genuinely care about you and that are on the right path of where you're going, and are going to put you keep you in that positive vibe, because negative people, you don't want snakes in the grass and all that. They're all around you, within your family, friends, and when I say snakes, they don't look at it that way. But when I say it's a snake, it's something that's getting in your way, that's suffocating your growth. You got to remove these things out of your way, keep them arm's distance, and keep going high. Be around people that really are truthfully, like, you know, like your cheerleaders, and you be that cheerleader to them too. So building the team, doing that. I mean, those are words of encouragement I have. Just read on. You might not have people, so read books about people that you admire. They can be your mentor. Mandela. When I read Mandela's book, there's so many nuggets I could get out of that. When I read Quincy Jones' book, I realize I ain't gone through nothing.
Hmm.
Look where this man has been, and he did it. So what am I complaining about? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A lot of these things keep you really like, you'll be like, why is it not happening this fast? Why is 2 years? I've been here 3 years. Go read Quincy Jones' book. Go read someone else's book. Go read someone. I'm not saying it has to be that long, but I'm just
Right.
saying it will keep you locked in to understand that your timing is your timing. And that's all
Right.
I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah. It takes time for sure. Nothing happens overnight. You definitely
Yes.
have to be patient, and there's going to be roadblocks all along the way for
But
sure.
those roadblocks are guiding you to the right door, and they're building you. And it's like working out at the gym, right? You don't get the
Absolutely.
result without a little pain. You're not gonna go to the gym, and if you go to the gym just to be cute, you're gonna come out still being cute. If you go into the gym trying to be fine, you got to put in some work. You know what I'm saying? Like you
Right.
got to really go there and be
Right.
consistent, eat right. You got to do all the things to get to that level.
Mhm.
It doesn't happen overnight, though, is what I'm saying. So,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Trey, thank you so much for your insight, your knowledge, your giving us background on your journey, your history, what you guys have been able to accomplish at Tri-Destined, and where you see things going for Tri-Destined. And I commend you for uh, being a down to earth individual. You seem pretty even keeled and humble and honest. So thank you for sharing your time and giving information and giving time back to the community, because you didn't have to do that. And we also appreciate you reaching out too,
man,
because
I like what you guys doing, man. I was just telling you, hey, I like what you're doing, man. Y'all doing your thing. But I ain't expect. I was like, oh, okay, I'll do it. But no, I
no,
just,
no,
I'm like,
we
brother, I see you, man. I see you doing your thing.
thank you. We don't know everybody. We don't know everything. So what you see online, we're working and we're learning as we go.
Yeah,
But we also see that there's a void there, that there's a lot of people don't see and know all of the things that go on in the business as it pertains to us, and who all is involved, and what's happening behind the scenes, what's happening in front of the camera, who's involved with which projects, so on and so forth. And so we try to make it a point to make that front facing, and bring more awareness and more exposure, and give people their flowers too, because there's people who've been in this business for 30, 40 years and nobody knows who they are. Meanwhile, you have on other platforms, who Julia Roberts is, who all of those individuals are,
hmm,
and it's easier for them to get that acknowledgement and those flowers than it is for us. So it's a part of our duty, not just us, but everybody as a collective, to maintain our legacy. And it's also something that just needs to be done, so that way we can move forward in our careers, and actually pursue a career in this business and not feel lost. You
yeah.
know.
I agree with you, man. I'm right with you. So y'all doing, you're doing the right, you're doing it, man. You're doing it. Just stay with it, and
Yeah.
you already see it, the fruits of it. So you
Thank you. Thank you.
congratulations.
And congratulations to you too, man. That's Trey Haley, everybody.
Thank you so much for having me, brother.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.